The house was quiet that afternoon. Sunlight came through the curtains and made the small living room look warm. But inside the hearts of two sisters sitting on the sofa, there was only confusion and pain. Sarah, the younger sister, sat with her, head down. Her fingers were twisting the corner of her scarf. Across from her, Hanya, the elder sister, looked serious and angry. "You know I don't trust him, Sarah," Hanya said, her voice firm. "I've told you this many times. Ayan is not the right man for you." Sarah looked up slowly. Her eyes were already red. "I love him, API," she said in a soft voice. "He's not like how you think. He cares about me." Hania sighed loudly and stood up. "Love is not enough. What about respect? What about family? You thought about that?" Sarah stood up too. Her voice was shaking now. "You only see his past, but people can change." Hania turned her back to Sarah and crossed her arms. "I will not accept him. If you marry him, then forget about me." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She took a step back, hurt by her sister's words. "You're asking me to choose?" she whispered. Hania didn't turn around. "Yes, him or me." There was a long silence in the room. Only the sound of the ticking clock could be heard. Then Sarah spoke. "Fine," she said, her voice filled with tears. "I choose you. I will end it today." Behind the door, just a few feet away, someone was listening, Ayan. He had come to surprise Sarah with flowers and an apology for a small fight they had last night. But now he stood frozen, holding the flowers like they were made of glass. He had heard every word, her promise, her choice, and the pain in her voice. Flashback. 1 hour earlier, Ayan had gone to the flower shop to buy her favorite white roses. He was nervous because of last night. They had argued over something small, what dress she would wear to a friend's wedding. But Ayan had raised his voice. He felt guilty. He wanted to make things right. "She deserves better from me," he had said to himself. With flowers in hand, he walked toward her house with hope in his heart. He didn't know that inside the house everything was about to change. Back to present, Ayan stepped back slowly from the door. His face was pale. His eyes were wide. He didn't want to hear more. He turned around and walked away, quickly, like a man escaping from fire. The flowers fell into the dust. Inside the house, Sarah sat back down, her body shaking. Hania made tea and brought it to her. "You'll thank me later," she said calmly. "I know what's best for you." But Sarah didn't answer. She was thinking about Ayan, his smile, his kindness, how he held her hand when she cried, how he told her stories when she was tired from work, how he made her laugh when life felt too heavy. And now, it was over. Because she had chosen her sister. Because her love had been listening. Scene cut 2. Ayan walking alone. Ayan walked along a quiet street, head down. The world looked different now. His hands were shaking. She chose her sister. She didn't even fight for me. His heart felt heavy. He took out his phone and looked at her name on the screen. For a second, he wanted to call. Then he put the phone away. "No," he whispered. She made her choice. He didn't know where he was walking, but he kept walking, and with each step, something inside him was breaking. Scene cut to Sarah's room. Later. That night, Sarah sat alone on her bed, staring at her phone. She had written a message to Ayan. "Can we talk? I want to explain. I'm sorry." But she hadn't sent it yet. She waited and waited. But the message remained unsent. Maybe it was too late. Maybe he already knew. The next morning, Sarah woke up early. Her eyes were swollen from crying. The first thing she did was check her phone. No messages, no missed calls. No replies from Ayan. She stared at the screen, hoping his name would appear. But it didn't. She quickly got ready and rushed to the cafe where they always met. Maybe he was waiting for her there. Maybe he didn't hear the whole conversation. Maybe he would understand. Hope was the only thing holding her heart together. Scene. The cafe Sarah sat at the small corner table, his favorite spot. She ordered 2 coffees, just like they always did. She kept checking the door. Minutes passed, then an hour, then 2. But Ayan didn't come. The coffee turned cold. The chair across from her stayed empty. She didn't cry in public, but her heart was screaming. She whispered to herself, maybe he's just late, maybe his phone is off. But deep down, she knew. He was not coming. Not today. Maybe not ever. Scene. Back home. When Sarah returned home, Hania noticed the sadness in her face. He didn't come, did he? Hania asked softly. Sarah didn't answer. She just walked to her room and closed the door. Hania felt a strange pain in her chest. For the first time, she didn't feel proud of what she had done. She felt guilty. Scene. The next few days, Sarah tried everything. She called Ayan's phone again and again. Switched off. She sent messages. No replies. She went to his house. The door was locked, and the neighbors said, he left 2 days ago, took a suitcase. Said he was going away for a while. Sarah stood there in shock. She had no words. She went to their special places, the bookstore, the food stall, the old garden bench. He was nowhere. It was like he had disappeared from the world and left no sign behind. Scene. Sarah and her friend one evening. Sarah's best friend Fariha came to visit. You look like you haven't slept in days, Fariha said. I haven't, Sarah replied softly. Fariha sat beside her. I heard something. Ayan is gone. He left the city. Sarah turned to her quickly. What do you mean? I mean, he quit his job, and someone said he's not coming back. No one knows where he went. Sarah felt her heart stop. He didn't even say goodbye, she whispered. Scene. Flashback. She remembered the way he looked. At her during their last meeting. Warm eyes, gentle smile. He had once said, I'll always wait for you, even if you push me away. But now, he had gone, and it felt like she had pushed away her own soul. Scene. Hania. Reflects late at night. Hania sat alone in the kitchen, holding her tea. She thought about Sarah's eyes, the way they had lost their shine. She remembered Ayan's polite words, his respect, his efforts to win her approval, and she remembered her own cold replies, her sharp words. He was never rude to me, she whispered. He never disrespected me. She began to question herself. Did I really protect my sister, or did I break her heart with my pride? Scene. Sarah's diary. Entry. That night, Sarah wrote in her diary, he disappeared without a word. Maybe I deserved it. I told my sister I'd never choose him, but I never got the chance to tell him that I still loved him, that I only said those words to keep peace at home. Now I'm living in silence because the one I needed to hear me was already gone. Closing scene. Ayan in a distant city, far away in another city. Ayan sat near a river, looking at the water. He held Sarah's photo in his hand. A small tear slipped down his cheek. He whispered, if she had fought for me, even once, I would have stayed. Then he placed the photo back in his wallet and walked away. Days turned into weeks, but Ayan didn't come back. Sarah still waited. Every morning, she checked her phone first thing. She kept hoping for a message, even a simple, hi, but nothing came. Her inbox stayed empty. Her calls always went to voicemail. It was like Ayan had erased her from his life. But Sarah didn't stop trying. Every night before sleeping, she sent a message, a different one each time. I just want to talk. Please don't leave like this. I didn't mean those words. I still love you. But none were read. Not one blue tick. Her words were lost in silence. Scene. Hania notices Hanaya began to notice the changes in her sister. Sarah stopped eating dinner with the family. She spent most of her time in her room, lying on her bed, staring at her phone. Hania once walked past her room and heard Sarah crying quietly. A deep sadness filled Hania's heart. She had never seen her sister like this. She knocked gently on the door. Sarah, can we talk? Sarah wiped her tears and opened the door. Hania walked in and sat beside her. Why do you keep waiting for someone who's not replying? Hania asked. Sarah looked at her with tired eyes. Because I love him, she whispered. And love doesn't end like this. Scene, flashback, the day, Ayan. Left, what Sarah didn't know was that Ayan had read her first message when she sent it. Just one. It was. The message that said, "Can we talk? I want to explain." But after reading it, he turned off his phone. He didn't want to open his heart again just to be hurt once more. He thought she had already made her choice. So he let the rest of the messages stay unread. A wall had formed around his heart, and behind that wall her voice couldn't reach him. Scene. Sarah's hope begins to fade. As more time passed, Sarah's hope began to fade. Her messages became shorter. Are you okay? Please reply. I miss you. Still, no answer. She began to write long messages but delete them before sending. She feared she might sound desperate. One day, she almost blocked his number, but her hands couldn't do it. She whispered to herself, what if he finally replies, and I'm not there to see it? That single thought kept her waiting. Scene. Fariha's advice. Fariha, her best friend, came over again. You can't live like this forever, Sarah, Fariha said gently. He's gone. You have to let go. Sarah looked at her friend and asked, how do I let go of someone who still lives in my heart? Fariha had no answer. She just held her friend's hand and stayed silent. Because some pain has no words. Scene. Hania finds the old bracelet. One afternoon, Hania was going through a drawer and found a small bracelet. It was the one Ayan had gifted Sarah on her birthday. She held it in her hand and felt a wave of regret. She remembered Ayan's smile, his calm voice. He had always shown respect, always tried to win her approval, and what had she done in return? She had made Sa. A cold wind blew through the window as Hania sat alone in her room, holding the old bracelet Ayan had once given to Sarah. Her fingers moved over the small metal charms, and a tightness formed in her chest. She had made a mistake. A big one. She stood up, walked to Sarah's room, and slowly pushed the door open. Sarah was asleep, curled up with her phone in her hand like it was her last hope. Hania stepped inside and placed the bracelet gently on her table. As she turned to leave, her eyes fell on an envelope, half hidden under a stack of books on Sarah's desk. Curious, Hania picked it up. On the front, it said in Sarah's neat handwriting, For Ayan, if I ever lose the chance to say this in person. Hania's heart skipped a beat. She didn't open it. Instead, she quietly walked out, holding the letter close to her chest. Scene. Flashback. When Sarah wrote the letter, it was the night after Ayan disappeared. Sarah couldn't sleep. She felt like the weight of the world was sitting on her chest. Her heart was screaming with things left unsaid, so she grabbed a pen and poured her soul into a letter. Ayan, if you're reading this, then maybe there's still a chance. Or maybe it's already too late. I want you to know the truth. That day, when I said I chose my sister, I didn't mean it. I was scared. Scared of hurting my family. But I was hurting myself more by letting you go. I loved you then. I love you now. And if you ever come back, I'll still be here. Tears had smudged the ink at the bottom. She folded the letter, put it in an envelope, and placed it on her desk, just in case fate ever gave her a second chance. Scene. Hania makes a decision. Reading the front of the letter was enough for Hania. She didn't need to read the words inside to understand. She could see the pain her sister had poured into it. That evening, Hania called Fariha and asked her for Ayan's old office address. Fariha was surprised, but gave it. Hania knew she had to fix what she had broken. For once, she would fight for her sister's happiness. Scene. Ayan, in a new city far away. Ayan was trying to live a normal life. But it wasn't easy. Every street reminded him of Sarah. Every cafe felt empty without her laugh. Every message he didn't reply to haunted him. He sat in a park that evening watching kids play, couples smile, and old people walk slowly hand in hand. He felt like he was the only one stuck, trapped. In the past, that's when a courier boy walked up to him. "Are you Ayan?" the boy asked. "Yes. I have something for you." It was an envelope. A simple white envelope. No name, no sender. Just one line written on it. For Ayan. From someone who still believes in second chances. Scene. The letter in his hands, Ayan held the letter in both hands. He stared at it for a long time, unsure if he was dreaming. Then slowly, he opened it. As he read Sarah's words, something inside him broke. And something else, something small but bright, healed. Her voice was alive in the letter. Her love was still alive. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Scene. Sarah at home. Sarah sat by the window, not expecting anything anymore. Her phone was quiet. The sky was gray. But for the first time in days, she smiled softly. Not because she expected him to return, but because she had finally said what her heart carried for too long. Scene. Ayan's message. That night, Sarah's phone buzzed. Her heart stopped for a second. She picked it up quickly. It was a message from Ayan. "I read the letter. I should have stayed. I should have fought harder. I'm sorry. I'm coming home. If you'll still have me." Sarah burst into tears. She didn't need to reply. He already knew the answer. It was a quiet Sunday morning. The sky was cloudy, and a soft breeze danced through the curtains of Sarah's room. She hadn't slept the entire night. Her heart was full of emotions: fear, excitement, nervousness. She kept reading Ayan's message again and again. "I'm coming home. If you'll still have me." Her hands were cold, her mind full of questions. Would he really come? Would he still love her the same way? Would things be like before? She didn't know. But one thing was sure. She was going to wait. Scene. A familiar sound. Sarah sat by the window, holding a warm cup of tea. Her eyes were fixed on the street outside. Every car that passed made her heart beat faster. And then she heard it. The sound of a car door shutting. Footsteps. She stood up slowly. Her heart felt like it would explode. She opened the door and stepped outside. There he was, Ayan, standing at the gate with a small bag in one hand and Sarah's old photo in the other. Their eyes met, and in that moment, time froze. Scene. The first words. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Then Ayan smiled softly. "I didn't know if you'd still want to see me." Sarah's voice cracked as she said, "I didn't know if you'd still come." They both laughed softly, the kind of laugh that hides years of pain. Ayan stepped forward. "I missed you, Sarah. I missed you more," she whispered. Scene. Inside the house. Hania stood behind the curtain watching them. She had tears in her eyes. Tears of guilt, tears of relief. She took a deep breath and walked out. Sarah saw her and stepped aside. Ayan looked nervous, but Hania smiled gently. Ayan, I want to say something. He looked down, expecting anger, but Hania surprised him. I was wrong about you. I judged you without knowing your heart. I thought I was protecting my sister, but I was only hurting her. She paused, then said the words that mattered the most. I'm sorry, and welcome back. Ayan's eyes filled with emotion. He nodded slowly. Thank you, he said softly. Scene: healing over dinner. That evening, the three of them sat down for dinner, something that hadn't happened in months. The food was simple, but the mood was full of warmth. They talked, laughed, remembered old stories, and made space for forgiveness. Ayan told them about the city he stayed in. Sarah listened closely, her eyes never leaving him. For the first time in a long time, the house felt like a home again. Scene: a walk in the garden. Later, Ayan and Sarah walked in the garden together, just like they used to. The night was quiet. Stars twinkled above them. I read your letter more than 10 times, Ayan said. It gave me the strength to come back. Sarah smiled. I'm glad you did. Ayan stopped and looked into her eyes. Can we start again, Sarah? She took a deep breath. No, she said. Ayan's face fell. Then she smiled playfully and said, We're not starting again. We're continuing from where we paused. Ayan laughed. He understood. They had never stopped loving each other. They had only gotten lost. Now, they had found their way back. For a few days, everything felt perfect. Sarah and Ayan spent time together like they used to, walking in the garden, laughing, at old jokes, even cooking dinner side by side. Hania joined them sometimes, and the air inside the house felt light again. But peace is never complete without a storm, and that storm came from someone they didn't expect. Scene: the father's return. One evening, Sarah's father returned home early from a work trip. He had not been told about Ayan's return. As soon as he entered and saw Ayan sitting on the sofa, his face changed. What is he doing here? He asked coldly. The room fell silent. Ayan stood up politely. Uncle, The father raised his hand to stop him. I don't want to hear anything. I thought you were out of my daughter's life. Sarah stood up. Baba, please. Let me explain. Her father looked at her sharply. I don't need explanations. I gave you one rule. No one who disrespects our family stays close to us. And he left. Didn't even call. Ayan lowered his eyes. Sarah stepped closer to her father. He didn't disrespect us, Baba. He walked away because I pushed him to. Scene. The truth comes out. Sarah took a deep breath. She had stayed quiet long enough. Baba, I told Ayan I chose Hania because I was afraid of losing my family. But that wasn't the truth. I never stopped loving him. I was just scared. Her voice shook. I tried to live without him. I failed. Every single day. Her father looked surprised. Hania stepped forward now, and I made things worse. I forced her to choose. I was unfair to both of them. The father looked at his daughters. 2 grown girls. One had fought for love, the other had learned to let go. And Ayan? He had stood silently, still respectful, still waiting for permission to belong. Scene: a father's dilemma. Sarah's father walked into the next room without saying a word. Everyone stayed frozen. Minutes felt like hours. Then finally he returned, holding an old photo. It was a picture of Sarah when she was a child. I only wanted to protect her, he said quietly. But maybe I didn't understand what she really needed. He looked at Ayan. I may not fully trust you yet, but if she still believes in you after everything, then I will try. Ayan's voice trembled as he said, Thank you, sir. I won't let you down. Scene. Healing. Begins from that day, things began to change. Slowly, gently, Sarah's father didn't talk much to Ayan at first, but he no longer avoided him. They would nod, share short conversations, and sit at the same table. Sometimes healing doesn't come loudly. It comes in small gestures. Scene. A quiet night. That night, Sarah and Ayan sat under the stars again. He held her hand. I never imagined we'd have to fight so hard for each other, Ayan said. But it made us stronger, Sarah replied. He looked into her eyes. I want to give you the life you deserve. Sarah smiled. You already are, just by staying. Scene. Hania's thoughts. In her room, Hania looked through old pictures of her and Sarah. They were laughing in most of them. She realized how close they had once been, and how far they had drifted. But now, they were healing too, and it made her heart feel lighter. She wrote a note on a piece of paper. Sometimes, love takes the long road, but if it's true, it always finds its way home. Scene. A family. Rebuilt in the days that followed, Sarah's home was filled with small, joyful sounds, laughter, soft music, shared meals. They were rebuilding, brick by brick. Weeks passed. The air in the house was no longer heavy with pain. Laughter had returned. So had comfort. Everyone was healing, slowly, but truly. Sarah and Ayan had started seeing life with new eyes. Every little moment felt precious now. Every smile, every word, every silence. They all meant something deeper. And today was a special day. Ayan had something planned. Scene. A walk to remember. Ayan asked Sarah to meet him at the park where they first met. The sun was setting, and the sky was painted in soft orange and pink. Birds flew above them, and children's laughter echoed in the distance. Sarah arrived wearing a simple white dress. Ayan smiled the moment he saw her. You always look like peace, he said, and you always sound like poetry, she replied, with a smile. They walked slowly, hand in hand, their footsteps soft on the path they had walked many times before. Scene. The proposal. Under their favorite tree, Ayan stopped. He turned to Sarah and held both her hands. Sarah, he began, his voice shaking just a little. I've made a lot of mistakes. I walked away when I should have stayed. I doubted when I should have trusted. But through it all, my heart never left you. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I came back not just to fix what we lost, but to build something stronger. He pulled a small box from his pocket and opened it. Inside was a simple ring, elegant, like Sarah. Will you walk with me, not just in parks, but through life? Will you be mine forever? Sarah covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Yes, she whispered, 100 times yes. Ayan slipped the ring onto her finger, and they hugged under the tree where it all began. Scene. Sharing the news back at home, Hania and Sarah's father were waiting. When they saw the ring, their faces lit up. Hania ran to her sister and hugged her tight. I'm so happy for you, she said. You deserve every bit of this love. Sarah's father didn't say much. He walked up to Ayan and looked him in the eye. I trust you now, he said quietly. Take care of my daughter. Ayan nodded, deeply moved. With all my heart, sir. Scene. The wedding was small but beautiful. Just close family and a few friends. Sarah wore a soft pink dress. Ayan wore a cream-colored sherwani. There were no loud decorations, no fancy stages, just love, pure, silent, and real. As they exchanged vows, there was not a single dry eye in the room. Even Hania, who once stood between them, now stood beside them, not as an obstacle, but as a pillar. Scene: a new beginning. Weeks later, Ayan and Sarah moved into a small apartment nearby. It wasn't big or fancy, but it was warm and full of memories. They filled it with photos, laughter, and late-night talks. Sometimes they argued over silly things like who forgot the sugar. Sometimes they sat for hours just holding hands in silence. But no matter what, they always found their way back to love. Scene: final reflections. One night, as they sat on their balcony watching the stars, Sarah leaned on Ayan's shoulder. "You know," she said, "I used to think love meant never fighting, never crying." Ayan smiled. "But now I know. Love means fighting for each other, even when it's hard, crying together, and then smiling through the tears." He kissed her forehead. "You've always known the truth, Sarah. You just needed time to believe in it." Scene: Hania's journal entry at home. Hania opened her diary and wrote, "I once thought I knew what was best for others, but sometimes love isn't about control. It's about letting go and trusting hearts to find each other." She smiled, closed the diary, and turned off the light. Scene: a family rebuilt. The house that once echoed with silence now echoed with life. 3 people, 3 broken hearts, now healed, now whole. They had fought, cried, lost, and found, and through it all, one truth remained: love always finds a way.